which is probably sufficient to cover a good portion of the town. It's not like it's a huge city by any means. It is large, of course, but for medieval times. So there are two sections of the map. There's an east and a west. We're currently on the west side of the map. There's also the large scale view, which I can pull up so that we can see that as well. So depending on what scale we need, just let me know and I'll flip the map around. Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Thank you. I wasn't sure what that was. Sounds like a vacuum.
It's my laptop fan. I'm trying to find where I can do a manual. Push. There it is. Push to talk.
Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, so before we get started, any follow-up from last session, questions, comments, concerns, anything administrative to go over? I don't have anything. 3.
Am I coming through? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And 3, 2, 1. All right, I will take that to mean that everybody is good to go. Okay. So, we're in the day following the arrival in town. Runt has made it back to the Golden Lion. That would have occurred sometime before noon, I would think. Runt. Maybe not. It's a mystery.
I mean, that was kind of the goal, but
Okay.
I'd also had that time to talk to Hedda and wander and come across her. I mean, it wasn't like it was a long conversation, but
right.
The goal was to get there mid-late morning.
Okay. So I pulled up the east side of the map. What was that? Saw somebody just drop into the...
Oh, that was me. I'm trying to see if I can get into Owlbear on my phone.
Oh. Okay.
So I can roll dice even if I can't see.
Okay. So the main paved areas are where you're going to see the more the more prosperous areas. The side streets are generally poorer to well, yeah, destitute. Okay. Let's go back to the west. Okay, so we're back on the west map. Okay, so as you can see, I filled in a couple of spots. The Griffins pointed out the Temple of Sylvanus and the Temple of Elderath. Now, I guess the only one who's had an opportunity to see this is Runt. So, Runt, there's something when you pass by the Temple of Elderath, there was something odd about it. Elderath is typically depicted as the goddess of the home and hearth. But there's a definite nautical association with the temple, as you saw it. Fishes and anchors and not the kinds of things that you typically associate with Elderath. So it was a bit odd. Sylvanus, of course, is the temple, sky god. Okay. So you've all gathered up at the Golden Lion. It's around noon. The noon meal will come out. As you're aware, you're not paying for anything over the next 3 days or so. And the proprietor seems to be treating you well. So, anything you want to do at the moment?
I will bring up to them that the temple looked a little bit different. And, like, guys, I'm not, like, anti-sailor or anything. And sure, sailors deserve a home and a hearth just like everybody else. But, like, do they have to kind of, like, mix up? Like, the gods are supposed to be, like, the one stable thing. What are they doing?
That's great.
Wait, this came from Runt?
Yeah, this is coming from Runt.
Yeah.
He wants some stability in his life.
Well, I mean, everywhere you go,
they do
this,
and
they do this. Like, if we can just go and interpret anything that they want, then it nothing means anything anymore.
Mm-hmm. Got a point.
Go on, Runt. I'm kind of amused by this existential crisis.
I'm just, she's not the goddess of fish.
So,
my dice are still rolling slow.
I don't know who is, but I know it's not her.
Well, that was my question. Who is?
So, anyone with the worship skill could roll against worship. Anyone with yeah, anyone with a more specific skill could attempt the specific skill. I'm not sure what you would want to apply, but worship's the obvious one to me.
I wasn't paying attention that day.
Laurie missed part of whatever someone was saying.
I said I have a worship skill. I just don't remember what it is.
Go ahead and somebody roll for.
No.
Who's rolling for Raymond?
His worship skill is 22.
Run. Are you going to roll for Raymond, or are you just joking about that?
I can certainly roll for them. And I believe that the 19 does in fact make their worship skill of 22. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. So, it occurs to Raymond. Did anyone else make it?
Not even close.
Okay. Well, it occurs to Raymond that when the Lords of Bloodstone came down, they brought with them their own pantheon, and the old religions either fell away, stopped being worshipped in favor of the new gods, or they were brought into the fold, so to speak. It appears that Lorath was, or well, let me rephrase this. Raymond knows that at one point Lorath was worshipped as a sea god, goddess of the seas, but it wasn't until the Northern Kingdom that she was viewed more as the spouse of Sylvanus. It would appear that here in Kars, the old ways have not mingled as much. That is to say, some things have been accepted, like Sylvanus being the sky god, but Lorath has retained some sense of independence from him.
So I will explain this in my best Cliff Clavin voice.
Okay.
Clearly the farther we get away from Telgar, the less modern religious interpretations will predominate, and we're pretty far from Telgar. So
Wait. Are you saying that back home we just choose to practice a different interpretation of the gods?
the
Like
gods manifest.
we can just choose how we worship them?
Well, I mean, there's always that discussion of free will. The question is, what do the gods accept and what do the gods not accept?
So I can just start, saying, "Oh, hey, Sylvanus, I'm gonna go start stealing shit in the name of Sylvanus, and all of my petty crimes are done in honor to him, and that makes me a devout and loyal worshiper." And
You,
start my own little sect of Sylvanus that does, you know, well, according to the church, super upstanding things.
you,
So if you were to steal from the wretched and give to the poor, maybe.
Well, I'm okay, but I'm going to be in charge of labeling who the wretched are.
so
And clearly you are the most wretched, and
you
therefore the most deserving.
you asked whether you can. Of course you can. You have the physical ability to do this. Whether Sylvanus would accept this as worthy is a completely different question,
Okay,
and one that you and I both know the answer to.
okay, but now what you're saying is that Lorath is over here accepting that she's not the goddess of hearth and home
How do you know?
because she's allowing the temple to stand and not like smiting them or something.
And you know all of the purposes and intents and motives of Laura?
Well, of
There,
course not, but I
there
know
could
what
be
she's
something going
not.
on here that is far beyond the mortal ken. And I certainly am not going to question the will and the decision of the gods.
Well,
If it
why
offends
not?
Norath will deal with it in due time.
Well, okay, so that whole thing you were talking about, free will. Maybe the gods need a vessel, and maybe this indignation is Lorath telling me to burn the motherfucker down.
You could test this theory,
Um. And then just kind of stopping, like, as fun as this all is, all this talk of religion has certainly um, killed the pleasant atmosphere from last night. So how about we just move on to other things?
Fair enough. Why don't you give us an overlay of generally where things are, since you've explored the city more than we have?
Okay, well, there were some cute girls over on this street.
Hang on,
Um,
hang on. Let me point that out. That's over here.
okay,
Over on Cute Girl Street?
yep. There were a few more over on this street. There were some really nice people over here that bought me a lot of drinks.
Oh, that would have
What?
been. Let's see. That's like right in here somewhere.
Yep. And then there were the same people that I, if I were working, I absolutely would have spent more time there and been made a profitable evening.
That's
But being smart and not wanting to wear out our welcome on the first night, you abstained, which I'm proud of.
Yeah, yeah. Not absolutely not because I had better things to do.
If you ask me, if you really want to get into religion, I think, the god Bremen or Baron would probably be perfect for you. That's the god of revelry.
That sounds exciting, and that I would assume that the men of the cloth for that particular temple are a kick in the pants. Um, but I just don't know that the church is really my calling. I'm going to leave that to people that are trained professionals.
I don't.
Oh, and I ran into Hedda.
That's what I was waiting for.
Oh, and by the way,
So tell us more.
Oh, she was just out buying groceries or something. I was on my way back. Had a pleasant chat.
How's her sister, daughter?
We need to do stuff here until we can afford to get
I
back to Telgar and
expressed
Hamlet.
some concern that we had unfinished business and that we were staying here and that she should meet up with us.
I'm going to look around the table at this point. Say, a gold says that doesn't happen.
Well, that's definitely true.
What?
And where to get drinks?
I don't know. Like,
I would be pleasantly surprised if it did, but
I really think that she's an honest and upstanding person.
I will set aside the question of honesty, but it is absolutely clear that she has an agenda of her own.
Well, who doesn't?
With a capital A.
I mean, we all do, but it's best to not judge a rogue by their cover.
True. So why don't we set that aside for the moment, since nobody will take me up on my bet, and address
I don't have that kind of money.
Address the obvious question, which is, are we going to do stuff here, or are we trying to get back to Telgar and Hamlet? All right, well,
yeah.
So the objective is to get back at a reasonably clear time. So what are we going to do?
Well, and I thought, we could be more useful to individuals if we brought back information about cars.
Of course.
That was a thing.
Of course. Sure.
True.
We need to know where all the cute girls are in Karsk. Sir Michael
I've started a list. Let's just say that
a cute girl map.
They're friendlier than back in Hamlet.
That's true.
It's colder here than back in Hamlet.
I don't know. The girls were pretty cold with me back in Hamlet.
No, I meant cold like weather, not cold as an attitude.
That's true. It was very foggy this morning. In fact, it didn't lift until you got back to the Golden Lion.
Well,
we have a couple of days of food and board that are given to us. We should keep our eyes and ears open for working relationship, shall we say?
I was thinking we might be able to contact Henry to see if he knows anybody who's looking for people who can do the kind of work we can do.
Work.
Being a ship owner, I'm sure he's got an ear to the town.
Doing here?
That's a good question. It's part of why I brought this up. What do you think?
How many people in Karsk have actually killed one of those white things?
I can always find work, but not everyone has the same work ethic that I do.
True.
So,
and I suspect the organized people in your industry would not take well to you freelancing here in the first place.
Personally, I don't go get some again
I've
either.
looked into that a little bit. I think we got room.
That's actually interesting, and a piece of information that's worth taking back.
It seemed a little parceled out. Lots of competition, and I'd have to take some time and effort to see if it's actually being maintained.
Fair enough. I mean, there's always the basic guard escort.
You know what? I might be thinking about Backwater and not about this place. Yep, no, I'm definitely thinking about Backwater. So I'll probably need to spend some time to actually get a better feel for what's going on here.
I think that's a great idea. Unfortunately, the market for comic relief is not as great as you might think, but give it a shot.
I pull out.
No, what we do
True.
tomorrow.
I pull out the harmonica and I say, actually, I was thinking we could probably work on capitalizing that very same story in a way that didn't require us to risk our lives against them again. Yes.
As someone who kind of died,
I laugh at that because I can go either way.
Well, I would be, we'll say, more comfortable in dealing with it if, from what you guys said, everyone involved would be a little bit more effective at removing its head.
How long are we going to wait for my dice? Yeah, for some reason it's just
From what I
taking
understand of
forever
your
to roll
story, that
dice.
would require magical weapons.
I was checking my speed. I'm actually doing half what I should be. I should be close to 300, but I'm only pushing 150.
so
That seems like the case.
I don't have any extraneous programs or anything
I
running.
scratch it, and then it killed me. So I'd rather not fight it again either.
But you got better.
Yeah, but it's rolling to 84.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about fighting. You get better until you don't.
But here comes the 9.
You never know when you're not going to wake back
Here comes
up.
the 9.
Mm-hmm.
Alexander, can I have a die roll from you, please?
There, it's done.
Sure, yeah.
Let me double check. I don't think an 89 will make it, though.
Do 100?
Although mine's pretty high.
33?
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's how many seconds you have left to live, just so you know.
That's what I was suspecting.
Well, none of these are things we have to have answers for today. So spend the day, explore the town.
Like a
I'm probably
bruise?
going to spend most of the day in the Temple District. Because that's where I can work contacts.
Yeah, true. Are they 2 wounds?
I'm assuming that Tindo will be nearby, if not with me.
Or there are some here in the grotto.
Other people play to your strengths. Where's Alvis, by the way? I mean, carpentry would be perfect.
He will, as this conversation is ongoing, he will make his way into the Golden Lion. You can all make a scan roll.
Ruh-roh.
Hear the infinite rolling die again? You can always roll in Discord if you really need to.
Well, right now it looks like you rolled a 1, so I think you did fine.
Oh,
There's 81. That's nice. That's real nice.
Been spinning up this whole time. That's crazy.
so you're not rolling for me, just to be clear. Because we have to wait this long again.
I did roll for you. You got a 49. I rolled a
That
72.
would be a success for me.
Okay. Looks like if you made your scan roll, you'll notice that this looks a bit peaked. He has a sore on his neck. Yeah.
Leprosy.
What do you
Or
mean?
like,
What are you doing?
or like puncture points, and is a little.
Vampire!
No.
He followed us all the way from the moat house. So I tell all this to, come here, sit down, let me take a look at that.
Okay. You
I
can
I
roll.
will attempt first aid first.
Okay. This is diagnosis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come on, roll low this time.
Does a 48 work?
It's his first aid skill.
I was going to say it's pretty close, but I think not.
He has a first aid of. There it is. 58.
Woohoo!
Okay. Ghosty. That's right where I'm.
Well, I guess we need to make sure we put in check marks for him as well then. So he
Yeah.
should have one for worship and one for first aid.
Yeah, I put 1 for the worship already for him.
Oh, I got
Okay.
4.
So, yes, Raymond, you believe that he is
41. Nope, that does
suffering
not make it.
from some kind of disease.
Well, I have the spells for that. God, I'm doing all this from memory. I hate that. I'll cast disease resistance 1
Okay.
to get rid of the icky disease, whatever it is.
So that'll give him a resistance roll. So, let me find his character sheet. Somebody can roll. All right, Ghosty, you can't. No, you can't sit there.
Go, Ghosty.
Sorry. He's looking at me with sad eyes. Okay, where's Alice? There he is. And okay, somebody roll a percentile for Albus to recover.
Sure, I'll kill him. $57 against something.
Okay, that'll make it for him. So he'll look noticeably better after he has been healed.
Well, make a note of what symptoms I see and what he tells me. And if it's not a disease I recognize, when I do make it up to the temple, I will talk to the priest there to see if it's a local disease that I'm unaware of.
Okay.
Got the car's curse.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in the wrong district for that.
I mean, I know about the Telgar trots, but this is completely different.
It's too funny. Okay. So yeah, he's feeling much better.
Good.
And shortly after that, as you guys are talking, you will see a youth enter. He has a tabard, which does anyone have heraldry, court lores, things like that?
I'll say I know Wes does.
You could roll that. Okay. So yeah, he has a tabard. He has some. You can see that it's officious looking, as in coming from some office. You're not clear what. But he comes in and he'll talk to Nilsson. Nilsson will point to you guys, and he'll come over to you. And he holds out a scroll and says, "The Chamberlain requires your presence on the morrow noon." He
Actually, that's
kind
not
of
true.
looks at each of you, not sure to
Because we saw
whom
some of those armored guys
he
going
should
through.
give the scroll, and then he just puts it on the table. And
what do you mean? What do you mean requires?
he turns back and looks at you. He kind of looks down his nose at you, and I believe the word means just as it sounds. Your presence is
I put my hand on Rhett's
required.
shoulder. I look at the herald and say, "Please convey to the Chamberlain that we will be delighted to appear at noon tomorrow."
He has a curt smile and walks off.
I look at Runt and say, "Runt, the Popo knows about us."
Yeah, but that shouldn't mean that we haven't done anything wrong. Why are they asking us to?
Because we're strangers in town. They're going to pump us for information just as much as we want to pump them.
Okay.
I'll shrug my shoulders.
No need to piss off the people who run the joint from the very beginning. We'd go, we'd be nice.
Yeah, but then you ask, right? You don't say, "Oh, you are required to be here. You're under." That sounds like.
Yes, it is a move of someone who's
is
used
there
to
a
being
university
in power. Here? Let it roll off.
Right, School of Magics. I have no idea. Probably Nelson.
Okay.
Because if we said no, he would just send the town guard.
I want to couch
drag us
that
there,
though.
and we'd be there anyway. So why fight?
Something free will.
Are there any wizards or masters of the arcane
You're confusing
Here and or near
Two
Kars.
different realms of power, I think.
Is that banal enough?
You know,
Sorry.
I have free will, yes, but if I'm in a
okay.
dungeon with my free will, it still doesn't mean I can do a whole lot.
Is that here in town?
But you still have free will.
But I still have free will.
I mean, if we were able to handle
Get some
the
rough
Town Guard
directions
of
just so I know
Minot,
generally where it would be.
I
Mhm.
killed one. You tried to kill one and then had to
Last thing
kill
I want to
two.
do is be brought to a
So I
chamberlain and
don't
burned
really
as a witch.
think we took on the town guard of Minot.
hey, of the guards we saw,
No, I don't
pretty
know
sure
about
we
that.
killed like 100% of them during
Have you
our
seen my
night
pawn?
voyage, not during the day, and not when we came in. Yeah, well, no, because I didn't see them. I'm only counting the ones that I saw personally.
Hmm.
It helps make the story
I'm
look better.
also holding
It's
open the
embellishment. Come on.
possibility that I might want to come back here in the future. So I would like to be welcome when I come back here in the future.
Really? You want to come back?
I want to have the option to come back. I'm told there are lots of cute girls out there.
Oh, okay. No, that's fair. We probably should go introduce you to them before too much longer.
I'm sure an opportunity will present itself. Fortunately for me, we're not all required to be celibate or anything.
That's a thing? That would be unfortunate.
In some religions, yes, it's a thing.
See, again, really more weight in I'm not interested.
I said some, not all.
Very relaxing. Thank you.
I mean, most paladins don't have time for sex because they're too busy being holier than thou, right?
Yeah, that tracks.
I do glance over west when I say that. Not pointedly, but which is the response I was looking for.
I think Wes is a
Neither
paladin.
confirm nor deny. All right. So, Tindo, are you going to come with me up to the temple?
Yep.
Okay.
Who are you asking? Okay. Yeah. Yes. There's a guild of wizardry. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Let me make a note of, I have to add these things to the map.
You don't have the legs to be a witch. A warlock. All right, so I think Tindo and I are going to head out to the temple and do temple-y things.
Okay. As you're starting to go out, Henrik, Henry comes in, and hang on, I got. Okay, so Henry comes in and he says,
we already
"Greetings,
are.
friends. How was your evening?" He looks at each of you. Sleep well, I trust. You're
I
most welcome.
nod, smile a little.
So he joins you at the table, and let me see. Oh, he spies the scroll, and he goes, "Oh, good. I see you've been summoned by the Chamberlain. Excellent. There's a small matter of your reward. One, for capturing the ship and returning it in good shape. Thank you very much for that. And two, for the valorous deed of rescuing all those people, poor souls. So I thought it best. Excuse me? So I thought it best that we involve the Chamberlain just to make sure that everything's on the up and up. Wouldn't want any of you to feel slighted in some way. I'm sure you would trust me, of course, but it's better to handle these things through a third party. I thought the Chamberlain would be best suited to that purpose. I hope you all agree.
I have no complaints.
Run sits there looking slighted.
I don't think so.
He's short. That's easy.
So yes, tomorrow noon. Do present yourselves to the castle gates, and you'll
Wes
be
is very
escorted
suspect.
into the Chamberlain. Everything will be prepared, all the documents, and of course your rewards.
Documents?
Well, yes, of course.
Yeah, why don't you grab Heta? Make sure she's there too.
Mm.
Oh, you know, the typical stuff. Waivers of
I don't think
holding
there are any
anyone
names on the invitation.
indemnity for any harm that may have come as a result of your activities, and of course acknowledging and accepting the sums as true and proper.
What language is it in?
You said a lot of words that mean things,
Ooh, I don't know if I can
but
read
I don't
those.
understand what they mean when you said them.
No, I don't.
He just kind of looks at you, retaining his smile.
We'll work
Read,
our way
write,
through
Norse.
it later. Thank you again for thinking of us.
It's a knowledge skill.
In terms of dress, clearly we didn't come with a whole lot of clothes. What is appropriate for the Chamberlain?
Ooh.
Raymond would be the only
We could always
one.
dress like assassins from Goldak.
Somehow I
No,
don't think that'll go over well.
that
Just
would not
speak.
go over well at all. No.
Well, Nelson does.
Well, time is rather short. There is a tailor, but I don't know that we could well, we'll just have to make do.
Oh,
Glad I asked now.
Yes, indeed. Yes, we certainly want to present you in the best possible light before the Chamberlain. If you don't mind, I'll take the liberty of arranging for a tailor and a seamstress to come and take care of these particular needs. This, of course, will have to come out of your earnings. Well, we'll just have to deal with that, won't we?
I'm sure that Tindo and I can obtain vestments from the temple. So since time is short, focus on the rest of the party.
Very good. It seems like it would be most convenient if we just have someone come here. It would be best to... We need to get right on this. If you'll excuse me, I will go speak with Nelson and make arrangements for you.
Oh, thank you.
Very good. He leaves. You see him go up and talk to Nelson for a bit, and then he leaves.
Well, that seems to settle that piece. We may actually end up with a little more funds than we thought, which would be nice.
Yeah, not until the cost of the tailor
but he did help us
happens to
get the
be
ship back.
more than the cost of whatever supposed reward there is.
I am aware of those possibilities, yes. In which case well,
I don't think we need to look nice.
Wes is our courtly guide, so, and like I said, Tindo and I are kind of out of this because we're just going to go grab stuff from the temple.
Do we all need to be there?
I'm at least feeling better now.
I'm
Is
on
she on
board
that
for that.
invitation?
Does the invitation have?
Is anyone going to look at it?
I was just about to ask that, actually. So yes, I will look at it.
Okay.
At least try. And if we can't find her, we can't find her, right?
Norse.
We get her share, right?
Norse.
Does it? I think somebody reads Norse.
What proficiency do you have to read it?
You have to have rewrite Norse.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Raymond, read that part to me again about
Got that mighty
request
7.
to oversee.
I don't know if that. No. I can read children's books.
I don't have
Holy
specific
cow.
have rewrite though. I just have.
Make sure he gets a check mark.
Oh, you've got you. So, Raymond, you have read-write Norse at 32%.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm still doing the sheet from memory. So
Yep,
I will
that's fine.
attempt to read it.
Okay. Okay, so as you read through it, yes, there is a lot of sort of legalese and references to the Baron and so on. The gist of it, however, is that you're not required, but you've been invited to an appointment.
He's just trying to cover his
with
rear
the Chamberlain
and make sure it's all legal and upright, so we can't come back to him later and say he stiffed us.
So that he can
That's my impression now.
oversee the accounting of.
Hey, it's cars.
It's not a wear
When
guild,
cars do
but
the
it's
Carsians.
like that. For the persons and property that have been recovered.
The Doge of Venice.
Okay, so this is much more of an arbitration.
That's the sense you get, yeah.
Okay.
Just don't bring the Fourth Crusaders here.
So,
yeah.
So I'll look over at Runt and say, to answer your question, it doesn't look like we are all required.
Well,
wait a minute. I take that back. 'Cause he's going to make you sign the disclaimers of liability and all that crap.
Correct. And everyone, including Hedda, is listed as invitees.
Well, I mean, so does that mean even like the ship captain?
No, the ship captain is a rescuee.
Okay. I mean, he was integral in the rescue.
I'm sure that will count against you in your rewards.
Yeah.
My what?
Okay. Well,
So what's with the headset? Actually, my whole planet's running tonight, so. In your car? Yep. All right. Where's my phone? Oh, there it is.
yeah, I don't know that I like any of this. That doesn't make me feel better.
People who evolve in trade.
I don't think we should buy clothes, and I think we should all go. I don't think we should change who's listed on the invitee list.
That means I gotta go find Hedda again.
Well, no. Well, the fact if she doesn't show up, that's her problem. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. She already got her kid. She doesn't need anything.
This feels a lot more like an arrest than a reward.
Oh my god. That's a riot. Somebody roll for Raymond and see if he can get anything more out of the.
Raymond. Raymond got a 1.
Oh. Okay.
In a read write Norse.
Yeah, he gets a check mark for that.
Damn it, Raymond! These are my rolls.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah. So it's actually pretty straightforward. It's an invitation to an appointment with Henrik, to dispense with the accounting of the recovery of the ship and the rescue of the slaves and the crew.
Yeah, but why would they have to be?
Well, if we're gonna get fancy duds, they'll be coming
but
here
why
to
would it have to be
measure us and give
legal
us the duds.
and upright for like a reward for someone doing a good thing? Like,
Well, you could always wear them somewhere else when you have an important people visit.
So Merchant Republic.
And Wes will discuss the finer points of
That's the vibe
presentation.
So it's a town that's run by all the
At matters of
merchants.
state.
So everything is on has to be, exactly. That's my guess. So I'm not. Well, if he arrests us, I'm bringing the Fourth Crusaders here. Runt's going to get us all out, and then we're going to go and find all the schmucks in the forest and bring them all up here. So that's right. Bring them all with us. So, and also, to be honest, I'm willing to bet that they're relying on the fact that we can't read the paperwork we signed because we're foreigners.
that makes me feel worse about this.
Well, the Baron.
Well, merchant republics are just as scary as feudal societies. It's just a different kind of scary. That's all.
I'm going to say the same thing that I told him. You're using words that individually make sense, but together, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. Imagine a government where the traders run everything.
Well, you can't trust them. They're traitors. Like,
right.
And
that's exactly why they do everything on paper.
Well, but who cares if they had it on paper? They're traitors. If they betrayed the crown, then they deserve to hang.
Not traitors, traders. Merchants.
TRADE.
Oh, that's completely different.
Yes.
You've gone a little robot-y there.
Slow down. Let it catch up. Okay, try it again. Slowly.
By now. I didn't hear him at all. There we go. I heard you a little.
Okay, we didn't get any of what you were saying.
We were having a discussion about what a merchant republic was.
Yep.
And I described it as, imagine if the traders ran everything. Mm-hmm. Whereupon Runt heard traitors and went off in a completely different direction.
Yes.
And so we're trying to pull him back.
Okay.
And that's exactly why they do everything in writing, is
Nelson
because
said he'd be coming back with somebody, right?
are sneaky in a different way.
Okay.
Well, West doesn't.
So we need to be very careful then.
West doesn't want to miss that.
We should be cautious, yes.
So I'll stick around.
Make sure we're not signing confessions that we're slavers or something.
Why would we do that?
Because it's in Norse and we can't read
Don't
it. Somebody says
here, because I think we need to have.
But why would they present to us that the people that did the rescuing that we are slavers?
I don't know. I've only been in town a day, so I don't know how the politics run.
Right.
I was just using that as an example.
To gain entrance.
like,
In
at least
any
with
case, Tindo and I should go and talk to the temple folks. You all can get fancy duds or not. That's your
You can't take
choice.
it. No.
And we can meet back here for dinner. Right. But Tindo and I won't be
I don't
here.
want any
So
fancy things. There's no reason to have clothes I'll never wear again. Eh. I don't think I'll ever see anybody that important.
it's up to you guys. I'll leave it up to you.
well, I mean, it's potentially the difference between being able to afford to get home and not.
I have to admit that's
Get him home.
kind of what I'm looking at. This is enough money to get passage back to Telgar, but
But
I
we
don't
don't
think it's a
know
good
until.
idea to get close. I really don't. That's not in our budget. I don't think we're gonna get
Yeah, he's a
yelled
42
at for
regular,
showing
right?
up wearing what we have. But
No.
again, I've never been to a Chamberlain's court.
and to be fair, it's quote just unquote the Chamberlain, so it's not like a duke, right?
Shoot, I mean, I was just in armor when I saw the Queen of Telgar, so like, I don't see how the Chamberlain
Although it was
deserves
in the
to.
middle of a battle, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of want to get clothes and go to see the Chamberlain.
So it's one for clothes.
Yes.
Fair enough.
I mean, these clothes are kind of scratchy, and we
The
did
the
kind of wear them for a week at sea.
Not only that, but do you remember that we had to go through the sewer to get out?
Oh, you
yes.
big babies.
No, this is something cleanliness is next to
You already
godliness.
have Tindo, you already have nice clothes.
No, you guys traded off all your clothes in backwater.
I'm going to head off to the temple. If Tindo's coming with me, Tindo can come with me. Why don't you handle everybody else, and hopefully by then I'll be back home.
Okay. So Tindo and Raymond are going to depart to go visit the temple. You can easily get directions from Nelson. So is anyone else going with Tindo and Raymond? Okay. So let's see. I'll use the book for Tindo and Raymond. Okay. So while they head off to go see the priests, what do people at the inn wish to do? He did, yes. Not Nelson. Yep. Okay. So you're sticking around. Okay. Right.
I'm gonna go look for Hedda. Can I take the scroll with me?
Unless somebody's holding it.
No, I mean that would be a to the group. Can I take the scroll with me?
I've already left.
Yeah, do we need that when we get picked up? That's the question. We need that when we get
Wes
picked up.
would know. Get picked up. Nobody's coming to get you. You're going to go to the castle.
Oh, okay.
And Wes, correct. You present the scroll.
I'd rather not lose it.
So if I lose it, we don't have to go?
Yeah, I was about to grab with that tone of voice. Slides it towards Wes.
Fine. See if I can find Hedda.
It's just
Okay.
hope she believes you.
I mean, if they're doing clothes stuff, just like, I don't know, get me clothes or something.
Crumble.
Okay. So I have Brunt going off on his own. I have Tindo and Raymond going to visit the churches. And I have Alexander, Wes, and Alvis at the inn. And as Runt was departing, he said, "Yeah, just give me some clothes. Damn it." Okay. All right. Does anybody know?
I mean,
Okay.
I'm on the smaller side.
He's about
I
my
figured.
size.
I figured they were just gonna go into a place and it's like, can you show me the children's section?
Yeah, accurate.
Big granimals.
Okay. So Runt, go ahead and roll a percentile. You go off into town looking for Hedda.
That's 43.
Okay. You do not see Hedda. Let's put you in limbo for the moment. All right. Raymond and Tindo, you come to the corner of Griffin Street and Center Street. You've been told that the Temple of Sylvanus is down Griffin Street on your right, and that the Temple to Lorath, the god of the sea, is on Broadner, which is further down.
I'm following Raymond, so I don't mind going to either one.
I would. Well, the one to Sylvanas is closer anyway, so why don't we start there?
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. You make your way to the Temple of Sylvanus, and it is much as you would expect a Temple of Sylvanus to be. Notes. My notes. Okay. Okay. As you enter the temple, a priest will approach. He identifies himself as Daedra the Kind. How may I serve you?
I am Raymond, a servant of Math, and this is Tindo. We came in yesterday and are looking for how we can be of assistance.
Ah, yes. Well, we've all heard of you. Please do be welcome. Let me extend our hospitality. You, of course, are welcome to the traditional days of stay. You know that to mean 3 days. I'm afraid the high priest is currently unavailable, but I am his second. Is there any particular service I may offer?
You honor us with your hospitality. Truth be told, the biggest need that we have at the moment is change of clothes. Obviously, given the circumstances of our departure from our previous town, we do not have something appropriate to
Slip some
render
of the
service
heresy
to
in
the
there. Go for
gods.
it.
Do you have a spare set of vestments that we could use?
Certainly. Absolutely. In fact, we should dispose of those rags most promptly.
I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Yes, yes, of course, certainly. Allow us to take care of those needs of yours. So yeah, he'll arrange for clothing as well as a couple of rooms that you can make use of.
I tell him that we actually don't need the rooms quite yet, but we do greatly appreciate them. My intent for the day is basically to do, serve the parishioners, talk to people, try to gain information that way. So I don't know how much of that you want to role play.
Okay. So, as a visiting priest, your duties here are. He seems a little bit. Put it.
He doesn't know what to do with us.
No, it's not that. It's how to uh, gently inform you that your services among the parishioners is in an unofficious capacity, if you will. Of course, the high priest may change that, but
we exist to serve the gods in any way that we can do so. We're happy to do so, even if it is just to stay out of the way.
yes.
I really am trying to be nice.
Well, and he's likewise trying to be nice, but at the same time, it's he he seems uncomfortable with the idea that you would just come in and start preaching
Sure.
to
Well,
people. It's like,
I wasn't talking about preaching. I was more talking about, tending to the sick and, washing feet and that sort of thing. But,
I see.
if that makes him uncomfortable, then when do you expect the high priestess to return?
So I was confused about what it was that you were suggesting. So,
Oh no, I'm suggesting the humble stuff,
okay.
for lack of a better term.
Yeah. So again, as a visiting priest, you're welcome to stay 3 days. Or that seems to be their tradition here. He's made that very clear.
Okay.
He's you are certainly welcome to
And it's a
tend
very reasonable one.
to the sick and injured and those in need. But certainly he doesn't go into the services side of things. He welcomes you to tend to the needy, as it were. And of course, you are welcome
And that
to attend services.
and I would do all of that. So
Okay.
you know,
So
I can cure basic injuries magically. I can deal with disease. So
okay. There is a small shrine. There's a shrine to everyone, of course. But you do. Oh, yeah. So there are little niches and alcoves where there are little shrines to each of the gods, including Lorath. And the way she's depicted here is, as you would expect of Lorath, as hearth and home.
that's interesting.
Nice sidestep.
I
Yeah.
will make a note of that
Yes.
for Runt and his existential crisis. And for the moment, well, I'll probably bring it up later, but not at the moment. I mean, really, today is just supposed to be about rapport building. So,
Okay.
and keeping my ears open and gathering information. So, it's boring, I know.
Anything specific from you, Tendo?
No, I mean, I wasn't gonna offer my services to dissuade because I definitely can appreciate they wouldn't want
I killed it.
me to be preaching about Donket here, but that if they have a clinic at either one of the temples or anything like that I could help with, then I would be happy to help. Well, there shouldn't be any heresy because like Sylvanas, Lorath, and Donket, they all get along. So it's not a problem with that. No one just likes to know it all of math. Is really what it is. So. He became the god of knowledge, but that's not how it started at party games.
I should know that most Mathian priests would take that as an article of pride.
Okay.
In the sick bay?
So yeah, I mean, they'll certainly welcome you.
Do they have white
again,
diseases?
You're welcome to stay, or the timer for your hospitality has started. You have 3 days.
The next is vampire bites?
You're welcome to. They will set rooms aside for you for that period. unless other arrangements are made, and that, of course, can only be done with the High Priest Malik. Okay, so are you going to spend the entire day here, or are you going to
I
go
won't
on to
close.
the Temple of Lorath? And yes,
Uh,
they will provide clothing,
well,
which are
I meant the fancy stuff for tonight. Like,
No,
hey,
he
we're
wants
going.
she wants the fancy stuff.
they don't have that here.
Not here. That was the gang, the other gang. So this is like I'm very torn being here right now, but I'll go with Raymond to Lorath.
Is
I
Raymond
I
going
had
to
actually
Lorath?
planned to spend the day in the temple district. I was not actually. I was going to spend the day here. You know, I found some place to serve. I can serve. I can gather information. Um, and if I'm not careful, I'm going to end up with 3 rooms in the city, and I don't want to do that.
I know you can still like sublet them, and that's how we could make more money. But like here, put on these robes. If anybody asks you, just say
Get
this
some
phrase:
leaves.
"All hail Ket, the healer of the gods, the one who makes us pure," and you'll be fine.
Right.
That is.
Okay, so Tindo, it seems pretty clear that Raymond's going to be staying at the Temple of Sylvanus. Are you
Yeah,
going?
I can stay here and
That was in
tend
99.
to the sick, the needy, and all that.
Okay,
70 and
so
below.
how are you going to manage clothing?
I won't. I will go and whatever they provide me
Okay,
from the temple here.
okay. So yeah, those are going to be simple robes. Okay, but
But
better
clean.
and clean than what you had from Backwater. Okay. Um, you will at some point at the temple meet Captain Ari Sind. She is the captain of the temple guard. She wears plate mail. She has a symbol of Sylvanus. Um, she carries a mace at her hip. She seems pretty competent. She'll introduce herself to you guys. Um, she'll ask questions about Telgar and your trip over and having fought the, shouldn't say race, the Drugar. You tell her anything?
Of course, I have nothing to hide. So yeah, I don't mind sharing. I bet Wes, I can hear his spirit crumbling, miles away. Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice, there's something happening. Why am I not there to stop it?
I feel a disturbance in the force.
Uh,
I doubt there are very many military secrets we will be revealing. So, um, for the most part, yeah, I would answer questions honestly, at least semi completely, as long as they make us look good.
she, well,
And by
yeah.
good, I mean competent.
Well, she's going to ask how it was that you woke the thing.
I wasn't there for that.
This was
So I
this was the mounds, right?
yeah.
This is the one that Alvis woke up. I don't think any of us realized what Alvis did.
Correct.
None of us were there, and even the captain was, saying things. But I don't think any. And Alvis is sick now, so he doesn't count anymore.
Okay, so you're going to beg no direct knowledge other than after the.
I'll speak honestly about what
which is the
happened,
truth. So
but we don't know what triggered it.
Okay, all right. Well, shoot. Well, she yeah, I mean, she's obviously very curious. They're very dangerous. It's good that it was put down. They carry diseases, So anyone who had any contact with it, you should check them closely.
I'll keep that in mind. We can check the crew. We cured Alvis. He's fine.
Someone else got hit by it.
As you might have noticed, a couple of the people from the ship are here. She points them out. Yep.
sure.
At the temple?
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing?
They're not feeling well. They have little splotchy marks on them.
Well, we can do the magic.
They look Alvis sized.
Yes.
That is interesting. Let me take a look at them, please.
Oh yes, of course.
So I will go and I will do the same hokey pokey that I did with Alvis.
Okay. So that's a first aid roll, unless you have treat disease.
I don't specifically have treat disease, but I was just going to just skip that step and just go to the
the cure.
Disease resistance. Yeah.
Okay. Then they get a con roll. Okay.
I guess I'll do the cure
That's right.
disease and traditional stuff since I have that now.
Nope.
As a true disciple of
Go.
Dianket.
Go you.
There are 3 people from the ship here. They are all. None of them are the sailors. They're all the.
We don't need no stinking clothes.
And so one of them has been cured. Tindo, did you say you wanted to roll?
I did not do anything because that's a 99. Keep me away from these poor people. I think you have measles. You're fine. Why, rub some dirt on it. Quit your crying. Dear God.
No, that might not actually be a fumble, depending on your
Just
skill
walk
level.
it off.
My 52.
Okay, so you've missed. Is this a cure? What skill are you applying here?
Cure poison disease.
Okay, so yeah,
correct. It's a beautiful roll.
You do know where we came from, right?
Okay.
I'm told that you can cure this disease by chopping off the head.
Just attach some leeches.
Oh, eventually, yeah.
It will also make said person immune to any future disease.
The best possible outcome. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so yeah, you misdiagnosed this person. Raymond, do you care to offer a second opinion?
Sure. I'm just going to look at him funny when he suggests decapitation as a cure and take a look at it myself.
Mm-hmm. Do we need a roll for you?
Yes,
Runt?
you do.
You're up, Runt.
What the hell?
You rolled a 2, didn't you?
No, well, close. I rolled a 9. Okay, so
I owe you.
we need to make sure we've got a crit check mark on there
I
for
can go ahead and share him some things.
read and write notes.
More obvious sorts of things
Right.
that I would take notice of.
Now, this is a crit, so he gets, if there's already one there, he gets another one.
Well,
This is the first aid roll.
Yes, but I was also reminding myself from the previous one that I rolled a 1 on.
Yes.
So this is first aid.
It's a special, not a crit, so he doesn't get an extra.
Okay.
But it is successful, and you're in some dispute with Tindo over the proper cure and treatment of this ailment.
Yes.
I was just going to use magic, so.
Oh, all right.
But knowing what it is probably would be helpful, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now you're going to apply the
I was
cure.
going to apply the cure disease.
All right. And they make their con roll. They successfully throw off the disease. There's one more.
If I couldn't do this magically, based on my observations, what would happen?
Well, there's the
Wes will not take this long to answer that
technical way to
question.
approach it, which is what Tindo was doing.
But Brian needs to actually look something up here.
Skill, cure disease.
Right.
And if that's applied,
He's not going to let much out.
Gives the host an opportunity to throw off the disease.
Okay.
If it runs its course, it seems to be attacking health.
Okay.
So it's possible that someone could die from this.
Okay. I'll just use spell power.
It's also possible, since it spread from Alvis to this crew, that we have now infected the entire city.
You know, I don't seem to have anything on here about.
Couldn't be that bad.
A last name.
We'll just
I do
have to
know
remember
it's different than the family name, though.
Yeah, you were saying something about indemnity?
So I don't mind sharing.
That's why I brought it up.
Just let me see if I couldn't find it.
You know, I lean on Wes for things like that because I have no skill in this.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have read and write legal Norse.
Absolutely.
Is there such a thing?
Do you know what that is?
I wasn't going to say it.
I just remember
we have a third person
saying that it was different. I remember actually getting what it was.
I cast cure disease on him.
Okay.
I thought I'd already said that.
No, that was the second one.
Okay. At this point, no. I'm just going to cast.
It was tied to a sub piece of property or something. If I remember right.
That's you, Brent.
Right.
I want Runt to use up all of his good rolls on you.
19. I got a phone call I got to take. I'm going to be AFK for a second.
Okay, that person also throws off the disease. Okay, so you guys spend some time at the Temple of Sylvanus. All right, back to the Golden Lion.
No.
So after about an hour, someone will come into the inn. And talk to Nelson, who will point to you guys. And he makes his way over to you. That is whoever's at the Golden Lion.
I would have asked Runt to get me a dress and do the best guess he could.
Okay.
Oh,
Fortunately,
medium.
Runt isn't there. So Wes and Alexander can make listen rolls to see if they overheard that particular request.
Oh, come on. You know Rent's now going to have to go and steal a dress from somewhere.
I heard it, I rolled a 28, and I will ignore it. Clothes.
No, it's just us.
Little thing.
Yes, two of them are members of the cloth and went to the Temple of Sylvanus to get
Okay.
their accoutrement.
So this gentleman comes over. His name's Torim. That's Torim.
Are we all here? No, we're missing somebody. Who are we missing? Oh, and Alexander didn't want anything, right? I'll explain that we're awaiting the return of a couple of people and that.
Yes, Hermit.
We had one
Sent
who
me
was not
over
interested in the clothing.
to
Does that cover everybody?
see what I could do about, and he starts looking at your clothing. Your clothing.
Oh. Does Wes have an idea of her measurements?
Oh, you're those folks. All the way from Telgar.
32. Okay. Then after that conversation, there was a lady in our group who's not able to be here right now, and I'll give her measurements.
Well, he so he kind of looks at you both critically, and then he says, he looks at Wes and says, "You have the bearing of some breeding."
I'll look offended. I don't.
Is that right?
No, you don't.
And
he turns back to Wes.
Right, and then Raymond
goes,
is getting
"You
the
must
assessment.
tell me about the styles at the court."
Oh, is that Heta?
Okay, well, he
And make the rest
Or is
of
it
it up.
Runt who's got looking for Heta?
is very, very, very interested in
Probably.
the the styles, the materials, yeah, he goes into a quite lengthy interrogation of Wes
Sure, my best guess.
over.
No,
Yeah,
I just mentioned that
he
there was a
appears to
fellow that was
be.
out.
How
I
to
didn't
put
actually
it,
give
rather taken with
measurements that he needed to have
himself
clothes.
and what he does. But you do have some experience with these things. You can also see that he appears to be skilled in his craft. All right, so yes, he's definitely going to ply you with a great many questions.
Yes.
After a point, he's going to say, "What is your name? Who do I have the honor of addressing?" Yes, you have a. Okay. Okay. So you're going to use the court name that you're using in Telgar, not the family name in Zig. Okay.
Wes Bumblebutt.
I thought we had gone over that. I would have to look back at my notes as well. But if we haven't, we need to sort that out. Yeah, strictly speaking, it's part of the family, but it's not well recognized. Correct. Yeah, the intent there is to obfuscate who you really are. You're not sure. Well, did we go over that? Anyway, we don't have to cover that right now. Okay, so you give him that name. Let me see if he knows anything of it. And he does not. But he does recognize. Do you show him the ring? Okay. All right. And there's no title associated with it. So, okay. Well, when you share that with him, he subdues somewhat, returning to his more snobbish demeanor. Um, but he will take your measurements and ask you how you wish to be presented. In short, he doesn't really do low. So it's medium, high, and expensive. Okay. All right. All right. Well, after he finishes with you, he takes measurements, writes notes down. I understand this is a rush order, so I'll be rather occupied with this afternoon. Expect it late this evening or tomorrow morning. Was there anyone else here who needed measuring? I understood that there were 6 in your party. Okay. And the other 4 then?
At the Golden Lion?
No.
I guess Alvis is there. Runt is not. So he'll turn to...
I don't want anything, no. Do not want to be dressed in...
Okay.
I'll whisper to Wes and say, I'm pretty sure I heard
Didn't expect to see you again after you disappeared when we
Tindo
arrived.
say they wanted some nice clothes, a
Wes
dress
is.
of some kind, but I don't know her measurements.
Excuse me.
Well, probably.
Knowing it's Wes, yeah, probably. He's.
I would say yes. Okay. So, Tindo, Wes, all right, anyone... So Alvis is he's there, so he'll get fitted, and Alexander is going to go in his skinky backwater clothing. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
I apologize. I am back now.
Okay. And Runt. Wes, are you gonna mention Runt? Well, I mean, he's gonna ask who's the other one.
Human lore psychology.
Who's the 4th? Well, we've got Wes, Tindo, Alvis, and Runt. And Alexander, that's 5 technically, but Alexander says no thank you. And
just stare at her out of the
right.
corner of your eye.
So that's covered. So where's the last one? Who's the last one? He's looking around. Runt.
Well, I think you two are kind of talking around each other because I believe Wes feels like he has expressed that I'm included, and you, Bruce, haven't felt that you've heard that Wes has included Runt.
Okay. So you give him measurements on Runt then. Oh, okay. All right. I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Right. And okay.
Yeah, I had talked with, or someone had mentioned when I left that we were about the same size. Because I am. I'm in size.
Yeah, no,
I'm,
he's literally one size larger than.
Yeah,
Oh,
we're-
I'll stand up. I'll stand up and be
We
like,
can see you
fine,
again.
fine, measure
You
me.
disappeared.
But I'll remind him that his snobby face. This is not for me. This is for someone else. So a slightly larger, and I'm not paying for this. Thank you. And I'll stand there for him to measure me.
Okay, so he'll take measurements of you for Runt. Okay.
Yes.
Whew. We get some tight pants.
Okay. All right, so he'll take all of that and leave. Great. Runt, you can roll again to see if you can bump into Heta. Yes, I knew it.
Probably not gonna. Since I used all my good rolls for Raymond, I'm just gonna get shit for the rest of the evening.
I love it. That's awesome. Good job, Raymond. All right. Okay. So the day will go. Anything else for the day? Anybody? The day drags on.
While I'm out looking for Hedda, I'm also, anyone that wants to talk to me, I will talk to them. I'm not gonna just be like, I am searching for Hedda and ignoring everything else and being rude to people. So, probably part of my not succeeding is also being distracted.
Okay. Yeah. It's a busy port city. You'll see ships coming and going. If you're down in the market area, there's an open bazaar that gets quite a bit of traffic. Yeah, there's lots of people. If you're looking for specific information
Nope.
of some kind,
Nope, not at
okay.
all. I just wanted to flavor that in terms of the time that I spend out. I'm still milling around with people and chatting and keeping an eye out for Hedda, but I also don't want people to think I'm roaming the city looking for someone, right? So,
Okay. Right.
yeah, no, I'm not trying to get anything out of it so much as just coloring what I'm doing.
Okay. I should ask for another roll from you, though.
Not enough.
Okay.
Let's do it right here. Put a thrower down on the table. Put a tourniquet around her leg. Start doing CPR.
Certain businesses will have marks. That is to say,
Yeah, I don't think that's necessary. Because it's after dinner, right?
You'll recognize them as being under the protection of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I was actually figuring that from what you were saying, they'd be more familiar in the side of work that I was doing before. Anyway, so yeah, cool. Good to
Now,
know.
you'll also notice that actually, would you roll 40? Okay, never mind. Okay. Excellent. So the day will go by. Evening comes. Everyone are Raymond and Tindo returning to the Golden Lion?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. So that's for the evening meal after evening service, I take it?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Okay. Looks like we lost Raymond. Your microphone's on mute, Raymond.
I'm still back.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Performance
And Brett will
anxiety.
be happy to know that I'm actually at my computer now, so
Yay.
he can
So you'll
keep all
stop
the good
stealing my
rolls.
rolls?
Yes. Thank
Well,
you, guys.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, so that evening, yes, Hedda
Suck on some
and
oak
her
bark. Come back
daughter
tomorrow.
will appear. Yes.
This is indeed a pleasant surprise. And I look at Hedda's daughter. So how are you feeling?
She roll a percentile.
I think Brent should roll for me. I wasn't saying that. In front of her.
She smiles at you and says, I wouldn't want to deprive any of you of the rewards you are justly due.
Starting
The
to think like
feral
Runt.
grin that she has from that always makes me nervous.
Yeah, I think we're getting thrown in jail. I think Runt was right.
No, I think they're going to make us do some sort of dirty work for them, which is fine because we were looking for something to do anyway. So, Hedda, you're more familiar with Karst than we are, correct?
Why do you say that?
Well, that was my question. You're correct. I phrased it in the form of a statement, but it sounded like you were a little more familiar with Karst than we are. So
I shouldn't say I. She says, we've never been here before.
oh, fair enough.
Insight check.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't even know what to roll against for insight. I don't think I have that. Let me double check.
Also, in terms of double checking, I had assumed I am not there for this.
No, I don't have it. I won't do anything. I'll just ignore it.
I actually, however, do have human lore. So I swear to God, Rhett is going to make the rest of the rolls for me tonight. I have no clue. Did her daughter say anything when I asked how she was feeling?
Let me catch up on something else and then we'll get to
fair
that.
enough. Fair enough.
So, Dustin, I don't know what time you wanted to return to the Golden Lion. This is meal time.
I would return to the Golden Lion for dinner if
And
I
you're
would
there.
look for because I would look for Hedda in that intervening time, and then
Right.
if not, be like, well, I'm hungry and broke, so I need to go back to the Golden Lion.
Right. And depending on, She is going to arrive around dinner time.
Okay.
So you're
I
either
will-
early or late. I don't know.
Then probably one of those things where I had actually commented to them that I went looking for Hedda and I didn't find her at all today, and then she walks up, and then Wes says, "I'm surprised to see you." Yes.
Okay. So Raymond, I believe you missed your roll, but there's another person here. Tindo, if you could make a roll, please.
I make it 33.
Okay. Yeah, you can see that she is suffering under the curse.
Okay. Yeah, we knew that was going to still happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, is it dire enough at this moment that we'd have to try to do what we did before?
It's only going to get worse.
Right, but I mean, like, we can help a little bit, even if we can't cure it as of yet.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, we could attempt to try that then tonight here, and before we go visit, or are we? Because we're here for dinner, right? So we can
I'm
try
guessing
or
he's pretty
attempt to
good
do
at
this now if she's interested.
it. Yeah, reasonably well.
So you can make your human lore roll again.
I don't have it. That would be.
Well,
Hold on a sec.
you're yeah. So the offer is made
Pants too
to
tight.
treat her
The sleeves are too long.
injury, and who's rolling human lore, if anyone?
I am. I rolled a 19, which is a base success.
Okay. You'll see some relief come over Hedda as the offer is made. You're not sure whether it's from not having to ask or whether the offer has been
Yeah, that's why we
made.
chose him.
Okay, let's do
Either
some
way.
rolls.
Happy to do it.
And
Me.
Run's doing all the rolling, right? Is that what I
So,
understand?
so where are you doing this? I mean, more people are coming into the tavern at this point.
We should probably do this in the rooms.
Okay, so the four of you retire to the rooms, or
Well,
who's
unless somebody's
attending?
coming with us.
That's what I'm asking. Anyone else attending?
I'm sure Wes is always interested. You know, he might become a man of the cloth, give up his crown and stuff like that to follow his convictions.
You know how many people would have to die in order for Wes to take the crown? I mean,
all I'm saying, Wes, is give me a list.
so the question is anyone else retiring to the rooms to address the curse than Raymond and Tindo?
Now that magic stuff gives me the heebie-jeebies. I'm going to stay down here and drink.
Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. So I've got Raymond, Tindo, Thea, and Hedda. Okay. So
Yep, definitely.
Same as before, Raymond's going to attempt to subdue the curse, and then Tindo's going to do a heal, correct?
I assume so.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So, Raymond, go ahead and make your...
Oh, it was a 10! Now it's not. That failed.
Okay.
A 40?
Don't think that'll succeed. Nope. You know you need a pretty low number.
Yeah, I thought it was in the 30s.
So that's 3 attempts.
Yep.
4.
5. I think I can do one more, and then I'm tapped out.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not going to happen tonight.
Okay.
Hedda, have you thought about taking her to the priest?
You are priests.
No,
she
I
says.
mean, like, I am a journeyman priest. The priest at the temple would have more skill at this than I would.
Thera, that's her daughter? Did we ever get her name before?
You can see that she's pretty anxious about that.
And I will not press the issue because of it. It's okay.
She's a notable?
We will do the best we can.
I thought she was just the daughter.
But I am not able to overcome it tonight.
I need to reference that.
Okay.
It actually did require pretty often.
She's sick. Not my type.
Okay. Both of you, Tindo and Raymond, can make a roll, please. This is intelligence times 2.
I've been dipping into that liquor that Runt was having that he found, and I have no clue.
I rolled okay, but not okay enough.
Okay. All right.
I mean, into minus 2 is a hard roll.
Okay. Hedda seems concerned, but
like food fight.
Realizes you can only do what you can do.
Mm-hmm.
She will mention that a squire from the Chamberlain found her and told her about a meeting tomorrow. And do we really have to attend? She seems concerned.
Well, as long as we want to stay in the city, it's probably in our best interest to at least see what they have to say.
I'm pretty tired at this point. I'm perfectly willing to let other people carry this. Oh, that's right. We're not downstairs yet. I having read everything, I don't know
Of
if
course,
it's
she doesn't
an
know
all
anything
or
about
nothing
cars.
sort of deal. Obviously, I'm not going to make you go or anything.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll see you there. I guess we meet at the gate.
I believe so.
Okay. All right.
And
All right.
tomorrow we'll try this again.
Oh. We should come here early then? Or after.
Yes, where is
Probably
the
early.
keep?
It will take me some time to rebuild my mana.
Oh, so later.
After.
Okay. All right.
Oh, way down
You
south.
can tell
okay.
that she's really anxious about
So we go by the
meeting
Baron's place on the
general
way?
and-
I understand that.
All right.
Yeah. Or is that as US cops? Okay.
Okay. So she'll thank you for your attempts, your effort. Okay. All right.
Head up.
Yep.
I don't believe anybody particularly knows what you look like. So if you're concerned, wear a disguise tomorrow.
Is he in one of the towers or is he in one of
And
those
then you can
buildings?
discard that identity afterwards if you don't like what happens. Does that sound fair?
Okay. I was just curious.
I'll think about that.
I mean, I'm
follow
no
directions
spy, but
carefully.
that seems to be something that would work. So
I can see some pros and cons in that. Consequences.
When they say come this way, go that
Potentially
way.
long-term
stuff.
consequences.
indeed. I'm really tired at this point, so I'm going to go downstairs and look for food.
All right. Okay. They'll follow you downstairs. They're not inclined to stay, so they'll see everybody, and Hedda will thank you again for rescuing them from Minok, and she turns to leave. They turn to leave. And they walk out. Okay. So, if nothing else, the evening will...
That was like...
after
1,000 years ago,
right? Some clothing will be brought. So there'll be a parcel, with everybody's name who ordered clothing.
Right, yeah.
Well, I guess I get to see how good West is at, I guess, in a warm size.
I think he rolled reasonably well, so yeah. So I think the clothing, while will not be a perfect fit, will be reasonable. Certainly suitable for the occasion. Runt, on the other hand, is, let's see. Let's see. So Alexander is 15, 8. Oh, they're actually pretty close. So yeah, I mean, it's a little bit off, but not bad. Certainly presentable.
Success.
Yes, success. So these are, I would describe as medium quality clothing. However, there are certain There's a certain cut to them, a certain trim to them. You'll notice, Wes, that your clothing in particular is a little bit nicer. Okay, so the evening will... Let's see if anything else happens. Okay, yeah, so the evening will go by. Morning comes. Okay, morning comes. Breakfast is served. The proprietor has baths ready for everyone on the instructions of Herman. Is everyone going to partake of baths?
In my own room, yes.
Okay.
I mean, sure.
Yes. I'll take a bath, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, breakfast is served. Hedda and Thea will arrive after breakfast. So you'll all notice that Hedda cleans up really nice. Surprisingly so. She appears to be she's not expensively, in fact she's dressed much like you guys are, with the exception of Alexander. Both she and Thea. Okay. Yeah. It's in Notable Notables. THYRA. I'm trying to put people of interest that you've met or know of in the list.
I think Bruce just assumed that it was a notable to Wes due to gender. There's some song, I think it's in Frozen, about a fixer-upper.
I
Well,
think he's saying she's high maintenance. She's sick. She's high maintenance.
Well, Hedda certainly seems to have fixed up. There appears to be the subtle application of certain cosmetics done skillfully.
I will studiously not notice that.
Okay. All right. Okay, well, time comes for that, unless anything's going to happen prior to departure to the keep.
maybe have a chat with Hedda about, hey, we might have to stay in town for a little while, depending on what it's going to take for us to get home. So we'll probably be looking for work, so if we're looking for work, do you want to be included in work? Because, you seem a little capable, and, maybe if there's any particular sort of work that, you and I are a little more suited towards, we could try to see about that in town.
She'll whisper, there are some interesting possibilities along those lines here. And she'll grin.
Excellent. Let's talk later.
Mm-hmm.
Never
Mhm.
been here before.
Without shopping for groceries, already has another place to stay. Yeah, I know. But I'm not going to press it now. I just want to plant the seeds. Again, lay the groundwork and talk about it later.
Hey,
Okay. Okay, so you make your way to the keep, yes?
If that's where we are required to go.
Right here. This is the keep. See the area? Yep. So you're here. Go down here. Oh, the court? It's just called that. Yeah. So you make your way down here. Dun, 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 dun. This is the actual castle. This is, you'll present yourselves to the guards at the gate. They'll read your scroll, and they'll summon someone to escort you in to visit the Chamberlain. And in you go. His off where you're taken is one of the buildings. Yeah, it's an administrative building. Okay. You're escorted. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. You'll notice that the castle construction is older than that of Telgar. It's not as quote unquote modern, but it's very solid. Well defensible location. It was standing after. It's been standing since the war with Forg. 1,000 years ago. Yep. Or somewhere in that time frame. Okay. That's the keep proper, not all of the city, right? The city walls. Okay. Okay. Okay, so you're escorted in to his offices. Herman is already there. So there's a hall, and there's waiting. A waiting area outside the Chamberlain's office, and that's where Herman is. He eyes you all carefully and lingers on Alexander, and you see both puzzlement, confusion, and disappointment sort of cross his face. And he's like, you can see that he's sort of thinking what to do when the door
Now,
opens.
Wes agrees with Runt on the fact that
And
the people should
you're
not be
all
paying for their
summoned
risk.
in before the Chamberlain. And as you step in, you're entering a rather opulent room, carpeted, wood paneling along the walls. It's very, very nice in here. Gold ornamentation, silver appointments, paintings, and so on.
Designed to make a statement.
Wes agrees.
As you come in, the gentleman behind the desk stands and comes around and says, Herman, my good friend, how are you? They exchange pleasantries and welcome, travelers from Telgar. It is so nice to make your acquaintance. My name is Grand Dorwellian. Please be welcome to our fair city of Kars. And be seated. As you take seats, some servants will bring in refreshments. He leans against the desk and says, I understand from Herman here that you have recovered one of his vessels in addition to his crew, including the Captain Sten and First Mate Toke, along with 8 of his crewmen. But that's not all.
Would the people
I
feel
understand,
slighted
too,
if we did not accept
that
it?
you rescued a number of our fair citizens.
Yeah, what's the norm here?
It is truly an honor to meet you and to express not only my thanks, but that of the Dukes. I'm sorry, the Barons. But enough of that. I'm sure you're all wanting to set matters fairly, shall we say. I have here, and he holds up a document, the determination of the shipwrights as to the value of the ship's recovery, and of course, taking into consideration its current state of readiness. In addition, a fair recompense for the rescue of the captain, his mate, and crew, and likewise our citizens. Now, just to be clear, I understand that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in your company to be recompensed. Is this correct? You will, of course, be signing an affidavit to our terms and understanding. He looks at each of you.
Right. And we can
counter around the
express
room.
to Runt the mercantile viewpoint.
There's 6 of us plus
These people are
Hedda.
offering a gift in
That's
thanks
correct.
to us. If we reject it, they'll
There
feel
we go.
slighted.
All right. The unfortunate
Will the individuals even really know? Will Chamberlain just pocket the difference?
loss of the cargo, no fault of your own, of course, but he looks to Herman and says, "You'll have to take that up with your suppliers. That's not something we're going to attend here." So he looks through the sums and says,
discussing the theory.
The citizens have pooled on account of the Baron's request a sum to cover their portion of your efforts. It is, however, upon Herman here to make up the difference for the captain, the mate, the crew, and the ship.
And he'll see some perplexion on our face. We're trying to figure this piece out because we're not from a mercantile society.
Likewise, there is a commission to the baronial estates in the city of Kars itself, which comes to 10% of the recovery total, divided by the 7 of you, comes to 137 silver each. He lets that sink in for a moment. Just to put that in context, that's like 2 years living expenses for a free person. So after he pauses for a moment, I do have affidavits from the shipwright to attest to the recovery value of the ship. He looks at Herman in particular when he says that. If you're
that is the
in
last
agreement
thing that we
as to
want.
his assessment, we will commence with the distribution.
I can't. I'm not a shipwright, so
I'm sorry. Did you say that you collected fees from the citizenry to pay for compensation for the rescuing.
Think of it as a gift on their part, their were-guild, if you will, on your behalf.
Did they have a choice in that? Was it like passing around the hat, or did you tax them for being rescued?
Oh, certainly not. They are... He seems puzzled for a moment, and then he seems to get at what you're driving at, and he's like, oh, no. Um, uh, this is their way, small as it may be. He looks at his notes, in expressing their gratitude to you for rescuing them from Minok.
I don't know. I'm not good with money. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have found myself in Minok. But I don't understand where where this money came from. Like, did you go ask them and they said, here, sure, here? Like, because money just doesn't show up out of nowhere.
The persons we're speaking of are poor. They did not have a lot, nor was a lot asked of them, if that's what you mean.
Okay, yeah, no, that's kind of what I was, getting at, is that they did not seem to be in a particularly great situation, and if they're being put out to say thanks, seems kind of like putting them back in a similar situation, which seems a little against the spirit of this whole, the whole rescuing bit, right?
Come to Runtland.
That's a very noble sentiment on your part. I'm sorry, your name is...
I go by Runt.
Runt. Well, Runt.
It's a height thing.
Yes, of course.
Because I'm shorter.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I cannot speak to where the funds came from on their part. He looks at Herman, and Herman says, "Oh, well, my understanding is that the family and some of the citizenry contributed to the stake."
Yeah,
I mean, I
follow
look
Raymond.
to the rest of the group because I've clearly been running my mouth here to try to gauge their comfort level with all of this.
Ours or theirs?
You guys. The rest of the
I'm
party.
being paid. However, it's more like paying their tax to the guild.
Yeah, just I'm not interested in getting payment like this. If it means that we're here for a bit, then it's the will of God.
I don't need to be paid for
Like
freeing
a year's
slaves.
worth of free citizens' labor.
Well, they're not slaves on account of your freeing
Exactly.
them.
We freed slaves.
Yeah.
Rescuing the ship, a token salvage value, I would not think of as unreasonable.
Mhm.
And you guys seem to be fond of just kind of gesture at the paperwork and stuff. So, I mean, if we could just see kind of where that money came from, I think we'd feel better about this in general.
How does Hedda react to all of
Well, you
this?
know, in Pendragon, 2 worth of two
You
pounds.
notice, well, roll.
Was it Libram? 2 Libram worth of clothing is a third of your nightly
I
income.
noticed nothing. Actually,
I think Runt should have rolled for you, but
We want to make sure about that.
Runt is your muse.
apparently.
so
Yeah,
let's talk about this from a
good. That's what
society
we want to make
level,
sure.
right?
Mhm.
Sort of off the table for a moment. So there's this thing
And how many
called
silver
a
each was that?
weregild. It
35. Okay.
can be
Just want to make sure I captured it right.
it typically the way it's thought about is
Right.
if you murder someone, you owe that family, if you're caught and made to recompense, right? The quote unquote value that person represented to the family, in the sense that it's being presented here, what they're suggesting is that they're not giving you quote unquote
Except nobody
a
wants to go back
weregild,
because of all
but
the slavers.
rather offering a gift for having rescued them.
I think it gracious to accept the gift.
Yeah, everybody needs one of those.
That's a good question. Perhaps. It's sort of like, you go to, the norm would be to accept.
And to be clear with everyone else, I'm not opposed to accepting either. It just,
Your sense of morality.
Now they can cast magic on us.
well, from Run's perspective, he's dealt with shady people and the way that shady people talk. And these people are talking like shady people. And that makes him feel nervous about it.
Well,
Because
they sound like business people to me. I've been
right, but
around enough of them.
Runt doesn't have that interaction. He has
Yeah, but Wes signs his name
shady
in Latin.
people. He doesn't have business people. And yes, this does seem normal business stuff, but that's not the context he has.
And in most societies, shady people and business people are pretty much the same. So
Yeah. So this is this really weird situation. So my family are merchants, like really good merchants. So most of this seems normal, like I've been around it. But then, taking the cloth pretty early, I also know what it's like to be without. But then at the same time, I'm a little spoiled. So it's kind of like this weird duality of like, yeah, most of this sounds really normal, but yeah, it's still a shit thing to do.
Yeah, so it's just kind of weird. And that's why Runt specifically went and turned to everyone else, right? Yeah. I'm not going to make a unilateral decision for the group. kind of expressing that trepidation and then leaving it to everyone else to decide in an area where there's clearly some feelings, but not knowledge related to it to make an informed decision.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, will the Chamberlain feel slighted, or will the individuals feel slighted? Yeah.
That's a good question. Do the people even know that
Okay,
this gift is being
hold on a sec.
presented?
Let's keep. If you're talking to each other off the table about someone who's actually there, I'm going to start assuming that you're having that conversation while he's sitting there or standing there.
Right.
So, fair warning, right?
Yeah, and I don't think that we have gotten to the point of talking back in character again.
Yeah.
I think that we were all still kind of feeling
Wes
that out.
Eschman,
And I
speak
don't
up.
think that
Excuse me,
and I don't
Lord
think that
Chamberlain.
that's something
Okay.
we're going to ask here and now in the moment. It didn't seem like that's something. I think the person that
Okay.
would be most pertinent to ask would be Runt, and I don't think that that's something that he would think to ask in the moment. So I think it's pretty kind of safe and off the table there. But yeah, we should pick up back in character to go forward.
Okay. So, yeah, the Chamberlain, he does seem a little bit puzzled, and
Speak for yourself.
and he'll say, it's seems clear that there are some cultural differences between Kars and Telgar.
It's my understanding that
I
she was a
find that
spy stationed in my
rather
knowledge,
intriguing.
not an actual citizen.
But that aside, consider this. Should you refuse the gift from the captain, the crew, the mates, in addition to the others that were rescued,
Yep.
they could well
Split
feel
decision. Delay favors everybody.
that you're expecting a different or greater burden on them.
So you're saying that they would look at that as a negotiating tactic.
How did we know
not-
where the slaves were?
Okay.
How do we know the captain of the ship
It
was there?
has the potential
How do we know which ship belonged to what? She knew all that stuff. We brought a message from
be
Telgar.
perceived in a light that I think you're not considering.
Well, this is between us. Let's say that out
And
loud.
we appreciate that perspective. Thank
Because
you.
Raymond was making up. You're making this better for her. You're making it worse. No, that was a comment back to
will
Raymond
step
about
forward,
you're not making her
accept
position
the
better.
prize given to the party,
This is what Wes is thinking.
as it is clearly no one else's
It's a logical
acting
conclusion.
upon.
Okay, so
I want to read
as you-
Wes said, is my understanding that she
You
was a
can
spy
personally
stationed in
do
my
that, but for now, I think
Not an
it
actual
is not
citizen.
our business to hold the Chamberlain captive because of personal moral slights.
That may be fair.
Okay, well, as you stand up, and step forward, he says, good, a decision. He reaches around the desk and brings out a piece of paper,
Back up against the wall.
quill and inkwell, and says, "Apply your mark."
I mumbled to Raymond. It doesn't say that we were the slavers in there, does it?
Does it?
Oh, I see. Forgive
That I
me.
don't know.
Allow me
But
to
we did bring
read.
her a message from
And
Telgar.
he reads off the document now.
And she knew where the slaves
there's
were.
nothing.
And she
He
knew who the
doesn't
captain
express
was.
anything
She got us to the boat.
that burdens you.
Without her,
It's
none of these people would have been here.
That you acknowledge that the Chamberlain presented himself as a third party to negotiate. It's not really negotiate, but to settle matters between yourselves, the rescued persons, in addition to Herman the merchant. And that, everything's been laid out. You've had an opportunity to examine the any supporting documents, specifically the assessment from the shipwright, and that the proper sums were provided, or a proper accounting was made and provided.
Do we want to have Elvis and Tim look over the assessment by the shipwright?
You know, you were just about to not take any of this. Now you're going to quibble over the details.
The only reason I would be quibbling over the details is, again, going back to the cultural norms, if we just blindly signed and don't actually engage in the process, aren't we doing the same thing? But I'm good. Rent signs. It's up to anyone else if they want to.
I suspect that you're overthinking this, but I'm glad you brought it up.
Absolutely, I overthink a lot of things. Welcome to welcome to tabletop.
So I will make a point of actually reading, and by reading I mean skimming, the paperwork itself.
Okay.
Just to verify that it says everything he says it does, and I believe it does.
Make your Norse roll.
It's probably close. I did not make my Norse roll.
Okay.
But I didn't miss it by a whole lot either.
And you didn't fumble.
I did not fumble.
I will not say that there's a line that says sole responsibility is hereby conveyed to the undersigner.
That's good. We appreciate that.
The undersigned are all slavers.
All right, I'll sign it.
Okay, so
looks like it says everything.
You
it
guys
says
are professional liars,
everything
right?
it's supposed to say. So
run with it.
Let's get this party started.
I never saw the letter. The writing on the letter, so I
So
wouldn't
there
know exactly what it
are
was about.
individual. There is a side note as an attachment or an addendum. And
here it comes.
Yes, it's the deduction of the value of the tailor's time, material, and clothing. And I haven't assessed that amount yet, but I will do that later.
Is it going to be a reasonable sum, or is it going to be a bill them for everything they have sum?
It is an expense levied to each of you who received clothing.
Right. But
Is it going to be exorbitant? No.
Is it a yes? Okay. It's not a soak the tourist number.
No. I mean, you have medium to high, well, not high quality. So low quality, medium quality, high quality, exceptional, right? You're in the between medium and high quality of clothing as expense. So I'll have to assess that and levy it against your income. No, it's not going to be 2 years of your income. Well, yeah, but those are knights. You guys aren't knights. No, clothing can be very expensive, but that's not what you purchased here. Okay?
Hey, you all purchased it, so
135. Yeah. Again, less what I determine the clothing to be. And yeah, according to the new standard, 60 silver is a free person's yearly income. So this is a little more than 2 years of free person labor.
it's certainly enough money that if we found a boat, we could book passage to get back. Well, yeah. We can buy horses and go to backwater, buy land.
If only we had, a wind wizard that could help convince them that it might be worthwhile.
Yeah, too bad we don't have one of those.
Okay, well, after everyone signs, he has Herman sign, and then he signs as the executor. So, your names are all on a piece of paper with the Chamberlain and Herman's now.
So now they know our true names.
Mm,
Mm, mm,
I mean, I think I just signed with an X.
He did say put your mark. He didn't say sign. Although you'll notice that Herman does sign.
Yeah, I
What
figured our
sign.
names are listed, but
Yes,
yeah,
they are. You marked the wrong one. No, not that one. You're. There you go.
I mean,
Ooh,
Do
I'll
you know
do
anything about
mine
dipwhite man?
different in Latin.
In Carillion.
Yeah.
I don't know. No one uses my real name. Everybody just calls me Tindo. So if I signed it with Tindo, that'd be perfect. Like, who's Tindo? It's like, you remember Tindo?
Okay. Now, the Chamberlain says, now that that's all taken care of,
Here
there
it comes.
is one last matter. And he looks at Hedda.
Dun dun dun.
I understand that you are a citizen of
91.
Monarch. And you can, well, if you've got insight, you could make a roll against your insight. see any rolls.
I don't have insight, so
Okay. All right. Okay.
I mean, do you mean human lore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. I have human lore. I don't have insight.
Yes, human lore. I meant human lore.
well, that looks like a special.
Ooh, aren't you special?
That is a basic success.
Okay.
Oh, actually, wait. It helps if I stop looking at Raymond's sheet. Jesus. Human lore. It is still a basic success.
Okay. A basic success will tell you that Hedda is really anxious all of a sudden. You know that fight or flight instinct that sort of kicks in when you're threatened? That's Hedda. Oh, hang on. Hang on. Raymond,
Yes.
you will notice that not only is she in the, fight or flight mode, she's also looking at the best way to escape the room, and you think it probably involves attacking the Chamberlain and going out the window behind him. And you can see she has a dagger in her hand, which is subtly being covered by her posture and such.
I lean over and very quietly say,
Hey, Bruce.
that might be
She
a bit
said the
premature.
request was from the upright man about troop movements and something
Okay.
else in my knock. What was that
And
other thing?
Wes,
Okay. Oh, troop types. Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
so the Chamberlain will turn and look at you, and Herman will turn and look at you, and they then turn and look at Hedda, and Hedda's looking at you. And she has daggers for eyes.
So now she doesn't know whether to attack Wes or the Chamberlain. Good job. You know, if I ever realize this, I feel a big calming spirit spell coming on for everybody.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to respond to this.
You do realize you did not help her at all.
You brought a message from Telgar, the Chamberlain says? Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, I thought you were explaining to them.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I see that you are justifying to us, the party, why. Okay, but what is Wes saying?
Okay.
But
All right.
a spy for who, though? Did Tendu actually say that? No, it just seems like a strange thing to say. Because I guess, all right, we'll let it play out.
Okay,
I
all right.
get Wes. You got us. We're here. Let's do this.
So
I'm going to make a point of not being between Hedda and anybody.
you just leaned in and whispered to her as
Yes,
Wes
and then
was saying that.
and then I leaned back out.
Okay, all right. So the Chamberlain is going to look back at Wes and say, "Who was she working for?"
Wait, before we go too far down this road. You are concerned because you believe that this young lady who has provided valuable service to the forces of good was a citizen of Minok. What would be the consequences of that?
I was merely interested in insights she might have.
I say that all the time.
But I see
especially when it comes to job employment
here at play. And he looks at Wes, and he looks back at Hedda, and then he looks at the rest of you. It seems that perhaps there is a great deal to discuss. So Hedda, her eyes are kind of smoldering at this point.
I just sit back and let this ride out. So
Scoff under my breath, no tact.
Yeah.
livery.
I'll stay near Hedda and provide support. I'm not gonna let her sit there by herself.
Okay.
Can the rest of us observe what Hedda's doing now?
Herman says that, or the guard,
She's
or the
kind
chamberlain,
of freaking out.
the squire, the door. Okay,
Interesting communique.
I mean,
Just make sure I got that
Runt
straight.
also doesn't look too happy right now.
nor should he be, frankly.
I think Wes has been planning this the whole time. He's like, I don't trust this lady. Screw this lady. Oh, look, here's a bus, and the keys are in the ignition.
Oh my gosh. The Chamberlain says, I must say, I am most intrigued now by the potential wealth of information available. Perhaps we should begin with this most intriguing letter from, or communique, he looks at Wes, from Telgar to persons in Minok.
And I look at Wes and I say, yes, Wes, I would like to know more about this communique from Telgar into Minok.
He has returned to behind the desk and he sits down and takes a deep breath and says,
Wes, you're
then
full of shit.
who among you is privy to this most intriguing letter? I don't suppose one of you has it.
That would make this too easy, wouldn't it?
The
He looks
The-
hopefully at the party.
the letter was delivered sealed, its contents unknown, except for its intended recipient. Unfortunately, we were interrupted in my knock when the message was delivered, and we left rather hastily.
And who was the recipient of this letter? Pray tell. He steeples his fingers.
I pause for a moment to give Hedda the opportunity to speak, rather than answering for her. But I don't look at her. I'm just
okay.
I'm giving a polite pause in the conversation to not assume and volunteer her, to give her an opportunity to do it herself.
Oh, Hedda, please jump under this lovely bus.
Do it for me so I don't have to push you and feel bad about it. I'll stand up and I'll
He looks at you.
literally point at Hedda and say, none of us know what's on it, and it's gone now. You won't know unless she tells you, and I have a strong inclination she has no feeling to speak to you at all.
Interesting thing to say. Oh my god.
Now sit down.
I'm gonna gently touch Hedda's shoulder to let her know I'm there and support.
She stabs you in the
It's a curse.
closest
I'm sure
spot.
she's thinking, with friends like these.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Tindo, you'll notice that she kind of relaxes and looks at the Chamberlain and says, "It is a message for the upright man."
Any reactions?
Do this
to that?
again.
Not from the Chamberlain that you can detect, but she does go on to say he had a request for information regarding the troop and type displacement in and through the city over the last month. If you wish to know more, I suggest you take it up with him.
Let's shrug it off.
So there's a bit of a pause as he kind of thinks about that for a moment. And then he says, "This has indeed been a most interesting morning. I don't know that you do. But that should perhaps raise some concern with Runt. And I think there's one... Oh, no.
Could I know who the upright man is?
I don't know that you were that involved with the organization to know.
I wasn't super involved, you're right. But maybe I could remember some information.
Yeah. Sure, everybody go ahead and make a roll.
Yes! Wait, Raymond, did you just roll in that 6 too?
I haven't rolled yet.
Oh, okay. Because it's...
We need something to
That
do
6
until we
is
get
my old
home.
roll.
okay. I was about to say, ooh.
Nope, that's an 85. That's terrible.
So, so Alexander, at some point you would have overheard mention of the upright man. So the city of Telgar is controlled by various, well, criminal activity is controlled by various groups in the city, right? They kind of divide it up into area protectorates, if you will. This is our territory, right?
Okay.
But as it turns out, the organization is more broadly controlled by, well, 3 individuals and a council. So the 2 in particular are the day man and the night man, right? So they run activities day to day. You know, they have various enforcers and such.
In a box.
There's a council that sits over the top of them. The council is run by the upright man.
Oh,
Yes, it is.
this is the tippy top. Okay.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah. So she seems to be referring the Chamberlain to go talk to him.
Which I personally would surmise that's like F off almost because he
Paladins of
shouldn't know who that
Ariok.
is. So she can just defer blame to somebody he can't even figure out. Or she's hoping he can't figure out. Or is she actually giving him information willingly? I guess I don't know that.
Yeah, sounds like a rabbit hole. So, right. Mm-hmm.
Garden placement.
Troop types.
She's gone.
Yeah. So apparently the upright man wanted military data on Minok. Okay. So the Chamberlain kind of chuckles and says, well, I suppose we would have bought that information at some point anyway. He kind of chuckles and says, he looks at Hedda and says, we'll want to talk again in the very near future. Please don't leave the
Potentially.
city. And looking at the rest of you, he
No.
says,
You want to know about cars, everything
again,
about it,
let
kind of
me
stuff.
extend
We
my
know some things. You know, the Baron's still here. They've got the
warm
North
appreciation
overlay.
for your
Your big mouth.
efforts on behalf of our citizens. And as I mentioned before, the Baron is appreciative. And to that end, he's authorized me to extend an additional 100 silver each on his own behalf.
He's very kind to do so.
Brunch is much more excited at being paid by rich people than by poor people.
Perhaps your particular skills could be of some use. He looks at Herman and I believe our business is concluded then?
No, I looked through my sheet. I couldn't find it written down anywhere.
Herman seems to come out of something of a daze. Yes, he's like looking at all of you and sort of a jaw kind of slightly open and bewilderment and puzzlement on his face, all sort of mixed with, really?
I think at that point we'll add, Herman, aren't you glad you extended that hand
no
of
problem.
trust and friendship to us when we first arrived now?
He seems to come out of it, and he
Oh, yeah.
well, they say it's not who you know, but who knows you. And with that, he stands.
I was gonna say I know that quote. I was gonna say, yeah. Brian talks about that all the time. I've quoted him many, many times.
And yeah, so the door will open. There's a squire there in the chamber. Oh, yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention was that some of the tapestries have the chamberlain's
Something to rent?
what do you call that? Symbol, his mark. Livery, thank you. And there's one of
We
the
did?
squires there has that same livery that you saw at the golden
Nope, he
lion.
is frozen.
And
There you go. You're back.
from the door, he says, if you'll follow me, ladies, gentlemen.
Yeah. Yep.
The squire at the door. All right, so he'll lead you all out. He escorts you to the castle gates.
So, did they hand us all of that money, like in the
Yes.
meeting?
There
Okay.
are 2 pouches. One has 135 coins and a little tag with your name on it. And then there are 7 other little bags that he later distributed, each having 100 silver.
135 less clothes. Yes.
And these, of course, are Carcian mint, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They're all Monachian coins. Oh no.
Yep.
It's them.
Nice.